السلام عليكم. مساء الخير على الجميع. We would like to welcome all of you to our today's workshop, which is going to be about paraphrasing to avoid plagiarizing. This is a very important topic for both, actually, for undergraduate and graduate students, as well for faculty members, those who are writing their, for example, research articles, or those who are working on their thesis or dissertations. So, Dr. Zeinab, thank you so much for taking the lead to teach us how to do paraphrasing to avoid plagiarizing. So the floor is yours. You may start now.
Thank you so much, Dr. Basim, for this introduction. Thank you so much, Dr. Kamal. Thank you, dear Ms. Basma. Thank you all for attending this workshop. As Dr. Basim has just mentioned, that this topic is of great importance to all of us, actually, teachers, students, graduates, undergraduates, all types of learners and students. So we actually do some kind of paraphrasing, let's say on daily basis when speaking. When we are speaking, we are trying to paraphrase. Sometimes if someone is asking for clarification, for having this point to be clear or to be simply rephrased. So in a way, we are doing paraphrasing and speaking, but we are not recognizing this unless it comes to the writing and reading, and we are doing it in academic context. So to get it started, let's look at paraphrasing to avoid plagiarism. Let's look at the outlines. So in today's workshop, we are going to look at these points. Um, First of all, we will look at some definitions. Um, to be honest, I came across different things about defining paraphrasing. So just to mention some points I came across while reading about paraphrasing, articles, dictionary definitions, and so forth. Um, then we'll be looking at the importance of paraphrasing. We will look also at strategies included in paraphrasing. And of course, because it's an issue, we'll be looking at plagiarizing and paraphrasing. So to some extent, we are just looking at the relationship between plagiarizing and paraphrasing. And why are we mentioning paraphrasing and plagiarizing here with this topic? Basics steps of paraphrasing, and this will include something about um, steps for our beginner writers, and it's helpful also for all of us. As I mentioned, paraphrasing techniques, we'll be looking also at some techniques we follow. And because nowadays everyone is going online, and then we are using tools with to detect plagiarism, or we paraphrase. Um, so we will be looking at two examples here in my presentation. In this workshop, I'll be looking at two examples of online tools for paraphrasing. Okay, so to start with, um, what is paraphrasing? And this is a dictionary definition. As you can see, paraphrase means a restatement of a text or a passage or work giving the meaning in another form. So this is one definition by Merriam-Webster dictionary. Okay, so restatement, okay, and another form. These are two important or keywords here of a word given. We'll see how we would look at a paraphrase in another definition. So restatement in another form of a word given. Okay. So the second one is a definition, and this definition I think is mentioned by in another workshop. I guess we had a workshop about plagiarizing, and I think I mentioned this definition um, uh, by an academic writer, Stephen Bailey, um, where he mentioned that a paraphrase is changing a text so that it's quite different from the source while retaining the meaning. This is very important. Retaining the meaning. So we have the source and we have the paraphrased. So retaining the meaning is a key word here, very important. And a change also is very important. So paraphrase does not aim to shorten the length of a text, merely to restate it. So if we look at the first one, we have the restatement again. So here we have also restating. We have a source text and we have a paraphrase text. And in the second part of the definition is not to shorten the length of the text, but to restate it. Okay. A third one, sorry. A third one is from another perspective, which is in a paper written by um, someone, I think it's Hovey 2013, mentioned that a paraphrase of a sentence is the one that's syntactically similar to the sentence while being syntactically or lexically different. So we have this one which is similar to Hovey 2013. And this definition is the writer of this definition mentioned the definition from a linguistic point of view, which he mentioned semantically, and semantically means here the meaning, retaining the meaning. Same here, okay? So retaining the meaning, this one, okay? Similar to this one, he mentioned that it should be semantically the same, but syntactically and lexically different. Semantically means structure, okay? And lexical means words, where we will be looking at what do we actually change, because we have mentioned here a change. So what are we changing? So they said the third one, the from the linguistic point of view, he said that we retain the meaning, as Bailey mentioned here, and there is a change which is from the lexical perspective and syntactical perspectives. Um, the third one, fourth one, I'm mentioning these definitions because I came across some papers. They mentioned that it's difficult to define paraphrasing. I just want you to look at these different definitions and we agree on some points as I'm highlighting these keywords and the previous also definition. One more which I would like to share with you is McCarthy 2009 in his paper the component of paraphrase evaluation. He mentioned that also this, like Covey 2013, they are defining paraphrase from linguistic perspectives. That this one again is saying that um, they will be organized. I mean, the source sentence and the paraphrased sentence, they will be reorganized as lexically and syntactically different and remaining semantically equal. So we have two more definitions mentioning the same point of Stephen Bailey. Okay, and we can add also here the word interpret, the word translate. Also, I came across these words in some articles. They mentioned that paraphrase, in a way, it is to translate, to make the meaning clear or simple in a way. So we can add the word interpret also, and we can add the word convention, that the converse, you converse the which is a change converse, but you retain the meaning, is still the meaning is the same. Okay, so these are some definitions I came across, and uh, to come to an agreement that there is a change of something like a structure, there is a change of vocabulary, but the meaning is the same. Okay, so let's look at the importance of paraphrasing. Why do we think paraphrasing is important? Yes, before we look at the importance, can anyone share some ideas about why do we paraphrase? Why is it important? Mhm. Why do we paraphrase? Okay, okay, good. Okay, good. Okay, okay. So to avoid plagiarism, let's look at these points. Keeping the rights of the owner. Excellent. Thank you so much, Abir. So we have some points here more than avoiding plagiarism. Okay, good, good. Thank you, Maram. So first here demonstrates your knowledge of the content you have read. It's a good beginning for improving your academic writing style. It helps understanding importance of referencing. It's the first step to develop critical approach to academic reading and writing, and it incorporates critical thinking skills. Let's look at them. So the first one, um, you should prove that you are knowledgeable and you read a lot about this specific topic, because let's agree that we are we are paraphrasing while reading, and we are paraphrasing while taking the information from the source, and we want to include this information in our own writing, right? So if you do not read, if you do not read, will you be able to paraphrase? If you do not read and understand, will you be able to paraphrase? Okay, thank you, Zainab. So you should be knowledgeable about the content you have read. And mostly for our graduate students and postgraduate students, you're writing about a topic in your field. So you have to be knowledgeable about this content or this topic. It's a good beginning for improving your academic writing style. So it shows that you can develop your own style of writing. This is me, okay? Yes, right. Yes, your own language, exactly. You say this is my own writing. Is this, we call it voice in writing. So you are developing your own voice in academic writing. Okay, this is very very important because your writing, you will develop your own way of writing, especially novice L2 writers. Yes, yes, thank you so much. Yes, exactly. So it helps understand the importance of referencing in academic writing. So this is for graduate and postgraduate students, our dear students. You have to have understanding of referencing styles in academic writing. You have to be aware of the specific college requirements of this referencing style, or university requirements of this style. So from the very beginning, and now also for referencing, you have the tools that helps you to write the references in a proper way, or to cite, or when you cite, or when you quote, or for example when you include the reference, like the in-text citation. In the past they used footnotes, and but I'm a good example. We were using footnotes instead of writing every while and then mentioning the reference while writing. So it helps understanding the importance of referencing styles in academic writing. Um, it is the first step to develop more critical approach to academic reading and writing. This is very, very important. From the very beginning of your reading and the very beginning steps of your writing, paraphrase will help you to adopt a critical approach for reading and writing. So it's not only helpful to avoid plagiarism, but these are also other ways we could take them as an example for our beginner writers. We usually train them um, to have their own style of writing. So paraphrase will help these students, beginner writers, our ELI students. We are always trying to help them maintain sorry, critical thinking and critical writing and critical reading. We have to help them in a way to get enough training for note-taking system. And this is very, very important. At the very beginning of their writing, they have to, or even their reading, because writing is based on reading. So they have to develop their academic note-taking system, because note-taking is the basics for our paraphrasing issue here. If you're not taking notes appropriately, then your paraphrase from the very beginning might be difficult for some of our learners. Right, right, Abir, right. Yes. Now, let's look at a successful paraphrase, how it looks like. Yes, yes, how it looks like. A successful paraphrase should apply multiple techniques. Excellent, yes, right, keeping the meaning. should apply multiple techniques to combine the information in the text and retain the original idea or meaning, which is a key word. Without this word, we cannot say we are paraphrasing. Original meaning, okay? A successful paraphrase should clarify another author's idea and add credibility to your own argument or insight. A successful paraphrase should acknowledge the source. Without this point, actually, you are not paraphrasing perfectly without acknowledging the source. So the word combine here, let's look at this word, the word combine. What do you think of this word, combining the information in the text? If you think of the source text and the paraphrase text, are you writing only one sentence or two sentences in your paraphrase? Are you writing a paragraph for graduate students or postgraduate students? Of course, no. We are writing extended essays. Excellent, Abir. We are writing extended essays. We are writing assignments. Let's say we are writing a term paper that you have to submit this paper by the end of this term. Requirements of a college, let's say. So you are not paraphrasing a sentence or two. When you paraphrase and you want to incorporate the paraphrased text in your writing. So combine here is a task, is not only a word, is a task because it's not only paraphrasing, yes, it's not only paraphrasing a word and then you're just changing this structure or changing the synonym. No. The issue is that how would you combine this, how you incorporate this in your writing? Where should you add this information? Where should you add this information? What would help here, as I mentioned previously, is the note taking. If you're taking notes perfectly, then you will know where to add what, which information goes where. I will share some experience with you later, that just giving this of the beginner writers, the students of our ELI students, and what we did in the class to help us combine the information in the text, because they are writing a paragraph. It's so easy for them to combine. Yes, Abir, I agree. And actually, this is the issue. It's not the issue of changing a sentence or two. It's how would you combine this to have your own version of writing. And here we can look at the word credibility. Clarify another author's idea and add credibility to your own argument. So you're doing another job here. A successful paraphrase should add something here, should show that your writing is trustworthy, not only just changing and adding the changing the structure or changing a word or adding at this point, but you should be able to provide evidence. You show that this writing, the new version you are writing, you are producing, is trustworthy. And then, which is very, very important, acknowledging the source. So you should be responsible. And this is one of the most important features of academic writing. So responsibility comes here. You do not only take these ideas from the author, from his writing, but you should show that you have taken it from X, Y, or Z. So this is very, very important. So combining credibility, acknowledging, these words are keywords. So strategies included in paraphrasing. Um, as you can see here, academic reading, summarizing, rewriting, and using vocabulary, which is, let's say, journal specific or field specific vocabulary, which is not general vocabulary, using proper referencing, and maybe others. You can add here, of course, it will be included in academic reading, note taking, right? And summarizing. For graduate students and postgraduate students, academic reading and summarizing are very, very, very important. Rewriting, maybe for us, for ELI students, when they are writing, of course, it's a process. All graduate, postgraduate, undergraduate students, they will go through this process of writing and rewriting. But what I mean by this, that rewriting, for undergraduate students, when they rewrite, it will enhance their writing skill, and they will be using all the skills they have learned about paraphrasing here in rewriting. When I ask them to write a paragraph and a group work, and then I ask them to write, they take the idea and then to write an individual paragraph, then they will be able to employ these strategies in paraphrasing. So they will not be writing the same idea of the group, sorry, the same wording and phrases of the group. They can change and they can have their own style of writing. They are developing their own, because it's a paragraph, and because it's a group work. So they are taking this and they are writing it their own. When you say their own words, they are using their own words. The students, they find sometimes they find it difficult to write, to use vocabulary, and they fail to use the vocabulary, and they use general vocabulary. That's why I included here journal or field specific vocabulary. If they are writing in health track, they're using terminologies, they're using medical, let's say, for example, medical terminologies. And if they are writing in journalism, for example, they are using this specific vocabulary. So that's why I said in rewriting, it's very, very important to train your students. As teachers, we should train our students to adopt certain or effective strategies of paraphrasing and note taking. Sorry. Proper referencing, and also here from the very beginning, maybe for graduate students and for undergraduate students, is not a big issue for referencing styles, because the professor will decide which style to adopt. But one of my students, she asked about how would I incorporate this reference in my writing. When I asked them in speaking, I will talk about this later, but let me just mention this example. I asked them to write the source in their speaking project, and then she asked how to incorporate in their paragraphs they are writing about this source, how to incorporate this referencing. And then I just told them, I didn't say this is APA or this is MLA or so forth, but I just show them one style that they can all adopt, which is APA. I just show them this without giving them the differences between this or that, because at this point they will not understand what I'm saying, but I just want them to follow one style of writing. So proper referencing style for graduate and postgraduate students, I think it's not a big deal. Let me go back to this point of summarizing. What do you think of summarizing here? Summarizing in relation to paraphrasing. Any idea? Mm-hmm. Do you think? Yes. Thank you, Aisha. Abir. Yes. Core ideas. Thank you so much. Thank you, giving the main points. Okay. Thank you, Batul. Thank you. Excellent, Ru'a. Excellent. Actually, for long text, especially long text, reading long text, yes. So yes, right, yes. So we summarize and paraphrase. So sometimes we take them both in one text. We should start long text, because we are writing research papers, we are writing 10 papers, we are writing extended essays. We should incorporate, we should include in our reading and academic reading strategies, we should include summarizing and paraphrasing, because I believe that paraphrasing in long text should be based on an effective summary. Okay? Now, what happens if the paraphrase is unsuccessful? So if I'm not um, following strategies, I'm not following a methodology, I'm not following techniques, and I fail to paraphrase, I don't have enough field specific vocabulary to use, I have a lot of issues in my summary, as a writing summary, or making notes. If I fail to do all these, then the result could be unintentional plagiarism. Yes, yes, Abir, it is. It is. So if you fail to paraphrase with these all the strategies we have mentioned here, till you come to the reference, then you will be committing this plagiarism unintentional. Why do we say unintentional here? What is that? Means we have intentional plagiarism, right? Why do we say unintentional? Why do you think it is unintentional, or sometimes they call it accidental? Yes, because you failed to paraphrase, you tried to paraphrase, but maybe you did not include a reference. Yes, it happens. Excellent, Nada. Exactly, it happens by mistake or for other reasons. When you don't know which style to follow, or you don't know You should include, yes, you should include this or that reference. Yes. Yes, fail to acknowledge. Excellent, excellent. Um, for postgraduate students and for graduate students, that might be true. But for our students, our ELI students, is that the case? Because they don't know the writing styles, I mean, sorry, the referencing styles, or they do not acknowledge, do we ask them to include reference? No, we do not ask them to include reference. We do not ask them to follow certain style. I mentioned an example previously, but maybe they don't have enough information about the topic, so they just go to their colleagues in the class, and then they take their writing and they just submit it at their own. So they are plagiarizing in a way. They do not know what they are doing, but they are plagiarizing. Some students, I mean, when talking about my students, I'm giving example of ELI students, our beginner writers. Some of them, they are doing it out of laziness. Some of them, they are doing it as a result of, I mean, task, I mean, just deadline, because they want just to meet the deadline, and they just want to finish. But if they are doing it intentionally because of these reasons, then they are plagiarizing. Unintentional plagiarism that you have just mentioned, uh, some examples here. But for our students, ELI students, when they are submitting their writing on Blackboard, they have the percentage of 25% of copying and pasting, let's say 25%. If they exceed this, then they will commit this mistake. Let's say it is a mistake. So, yes, exactly, exactly, Nada, right. So if they exceed this 25%, then they have the plagiarism checker or detector, which is safe assign, and then they will fail and they will get zero. We have to show them, we have to tell them that you will get zero if you exceed the 25%. This 25% should include words like linking words, general words like words, for example, if you are using the introductory words, like using words for conclusion, using time signals. This could be copied and pasted from a source. Okay. So we do not ask them to include reference. So, but they still committing plagiarism if they exceed this 25%. We should, from the very beginning, we should inform the students that if you are not following the regulations and the instructions, if you do not follow the college requirements, for this, you will fail the course. You will get zero for your writing, for the essay or for the paragraph. And they have to know this from the very, very beginning of their course. This is unintentional. So what about intentional plagiarism? What is it? What is it? Yes, exactly, exactly. True. Yes, true. Yes, exactly, Nada. Yes, you're true. So what do what do we mean by intentional plagiarism? What is it? Intentional. Look at this word, intentional. Copy and paste. Exactly. Okay, good. What else? Mhm. If you do not do it on purpose. Yes, exactly. Right. Right. So we can say this is cheating. Okay, good. We can say this is cheating. If you are, can I say one can plagiarize oneself, which is called self plagiarism? Yes. How? How? Hmm. How can you plagiarize self? Yes. How? How? Mhm. Yes. Okay. Or or okay. Or you can get you can you can you can gain credit for a work twice. You take this assignment for this course. Yes, submitting the same homework. So this is thank you so much, Prof. Ikram. So this is actually um, a kind of cheating. Okay, so you are violating the rules. You know the rules. You know the restrictions, and you're not following them. Right? So this is considered as plagiarism, intentional plagiarism. Yes, exactly, exactly. Yeah, true, true. So how would you avoid this? How would you avoid this? Thank you, Fahad. Yes, right. Very true. So how would you avoid plagiarism? How would you avoid plagiarism? Hmm. It's very simple, right? How would you avoid it? You have mentioned a lot of ideas. Thank you so much for sharing these ideas. Excellent, excellent. Yes, yes, right, right. Yes, Prof. Thank you so much. Actually, you avoid plagiarism. Yes, if you abide by the regulations, if you abide by the regulations regarding the referencing and incorporating this referencing in text citation and um, I mean many more about regulations, so you avoid plagiarism. One more and the most important is citation. So excellent, thank you so much. Yes, exactly. So you avoid plagiarism by using citation appropriately. So citation has these basic forms: quotation, paraphrasing, and summarizing. Okay, so if you look at quotation. Okay, good. So what do we mean by quotation? What do we mean by quotation? If you take this exact words, why do we take exact words? Why do we add them? Okay, right. So why do we use quotation? Why? Why do you think quotation is important? Why? Okay, support your idea. Thank you. You yes, right. Yes, right. Right. Okay. Yes, I agree. So sometimes if you think that this is specific. Yes, yes, right. Like memorable language, like this one. Yes, yes, exactly, Doctor. Yes, exactly, exactly. Like this one, I kept always two books in my pocket, one to read, one to write in. So this is exactly, yes, this is exactly what you are mentioning. So true. So if you think that this specific word or phrases they are needed in this context, then use quotation. But do we use quotation in science? For science specialist, do we use quotation in science? I know in arts we use quotation a lot, especially in writing. Yes. How do you use it for the laws? Okay, good. What else? What else do you use quotation for? Yeah, excellent. This is what I'm thinking of, Neda. Thank you so much, Neda. So you use it for, thank you so much, Prophet Kram. So we use it for differently here in science. Because I'm familiar with using quotation a lot. In our field, we are using it. So in science, it's equally important, as we can see. They mentioned this, mm, that they are using it in science. So another point is summary and paraphrase. So what is the difference between a summary and a paraphrase? And as I mentioned previously, that sometimes a good paraphrase should a good summary, an effective summary should have an effective paraphrase, because you will see, just have a look at these differences between the summary and paraphrase. You will see. 1 minute, just look at the differences. Okay, now in the summary is shorter than the original text, while paraphrase is the same length. Sometimes, it's not always, sometimes. For example, if I have a simple sentence and then I would like to have a compound sentence, to change this into a compound sentence, will it be the same? Let's simply thinking about the structure, changing the structure. Yes, yes. So it's not always the case about the length. This is what I believe. Different words, yes, we have different ideas, and different words, of course, we are using different words here in paraphrasing. So that's why I said a good paraphrase or a good summary, an effective summary should include a paraphrase, because we have these similar points. And in the paraphrase, this is maybe an exceptional point, which is we're using it, we're using details, we paraphrase the details. And in the summary also, if we have long text, we can add, we have the details of the supporting ideas are major and minor. So major supporting in long text, I believe we could add them in the summary, not the minor. So when you evaluate your reading source, and you evaluate the summary against the source, then you should look at the major and minor supporting. If the summary is long, I mean the text is long, and it's, when we have articles, we have research papers, of course it's not that short, then you can provide major, not minor details. We agree that we use or we apply summary and paraphrasing when we want to incorporate evidence in our writing. So that way you could mention details here in paraphrasing and also in, yes, main, right. I agree. What do you think about, yes, I agree. What do you think about long text? So if we have major and minor supporting, I think we could include the major in our summaries. This is what I mean by. So again, summary and paraphrasing um, should a good summary should include a paraphrase in a way. But for our, I mean, beginner writers, ELI students, the prep students, we can ask them to make a clear difference between a summary and a paraphrase, unlike the graduate or postgraduate students. Graduate and postgraduate students, they should know that within the summary you can include your paraphrase, and as I mentioned, the word combining the source is very, very important, because we are using these techniques when we are including the information or evidence within our writing. So let's take these examples. These are three forms of citation we have just mentioned. The first one, second one, and the third one. Can we state whether the first one is a quote or a summary or a paraphrase? A second one, a quote, a summary, or a paraphrase, and a third one. Okay, so I'll just give you one example, 1 minute to differentiate um, a quote from the summary or a paraphrase. Okay, just 1 minute. Yeah, thank you, Aisha. Just 1 minute. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yes. Thank you so much. The first one is the quote because it's clear, right? A second one could be a summary or a paraphrase, and a third one could be a summary. Is it easy to detect? Okay. Why do you say the second one is a paraphrase and a third one is a summary? Why would you say this is a second one is a paraphrase and a third one is a summary? What helps? Mhm. Okay. Okay. What else? Yes. Yes, right. Right. And yes. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Exactly. Yes. Yes, exactly. Yes. Yes. So in the third one is just main point, and the second one has some details and mention numbers. Exactly. Thank you so much. Actually, this is the job. So for beginner writers, we can give these kind of examples, and yes, for differentiating paraphrase from a summary, but sorry, for experienced writers, for graduate, postgraduate students, we can give examples of a whole text. So they can paraphrase and summarize, or they can make a summary and they can tell about the differences. Okay, so these are some basics for paraphrasing. So the first one is read and comprehend, and we mentioned this at the very beginning. Read and comprehend the source text. You have to show that you are knowledgeable. At the very beginning we mentioned this. Rewrite the text in your own words. And we mentioned this, when writing in your own words, you need some kind of, for beginner writers, they need to use synonyms, field specific or gender specific. You're writing a report different than writing an essay, different than writing a paragraph. Writing a conclusion is different than writing the introduction, and so forth. So using following the steps in a process is different than writing a narrative uh, type of writing. So when you rewrite, you have to consider this. Okay, consider and compare both texts, the original and the paraphrase. This is very, very important. If you are writing a paper, and you are making, because you are incorporating different sources, you're consulting different articles, different textbooks, whatever, referencing. So I think that your job will start from the very beginning, when you have your own note, and you have to have your own note taking system. And I always advise my students to have a file, starting writing their whatever kind of writing, a paragraph, an essay, an extended essay, term paper. You have to have a file or a notebook. The notebook we are using in classes, or even a paper file that you're writing the source, you are writing your summary, and then you are including the reference in this note. When you combine the source and you're making your paraphrase, you should look at, when you're making a summary and you're making a paraphrase, you should compare these texts, the paraphrased and the original, and you should check both of them. And you have to add the source, the reference, because this will help you when combining your source, when you're writing your final or your second draft or the third draft, whatever. um, Apply some techniques to finalize your paraphrase. And here you are applying actually different techniques to paraphrase. If you are writing, if you are a graduate student or postgraduate student, actually you are applying different techniques. For undergraduate students, for beginner writers, we should make it clear that we are changing this verb from active to passive. We are changing the word form, verb, to noun, for example. We are making this a structural change, compound complex. You remember the linguistic perspectives I mentioned previously? The syntactical, lexical should be semantically the same, but syntactically and lexically different. We have to make it clear for our students or the learners, because these are basics. These are basics, and because they are basics, even you can talk about this verb tense. You can change it from infinitive to ing, for example, and this kind of change will work in your sentence, because we're talking about sentence level or paragraph level. So we should make things clear, tiny things. For beginner writers will make sense, will change the way they're thinking about paraphrasing. Compound sentence, make it complex sentence. Simple sentence, make it compound sentence. Even if you ask them at a discourse level and you say declarative sentence, make it interrogative sentence. This kind of changes from the very beginning, they will make sense. They will make difference in the writing in the future. So because these are basics, when I talk about basics, that means I should ask my students, I should train them to adopt this way or this method or this technique from the very beginning, because I want to avoid this in the future. They will be trained, they will be writing in an effective way, in a good way. They will be paraphrasing, and they will be aware of the paraphrase they make. So this is very, very important. So what are these techniques? Let's start. Let's look at the this word in the last point, and think about these techniques. What are they? We finish with reading, comprehending, using words, looking at comparing the text original to the paraphrased one. So what are these techniques? Let's look at them here. So paraphrasing techniques, using synonyms, using antonyms, similar, different, using different word forms. This is what I mentioned. From linguistic perspectives, I mentioned these words: syntactic, lexical, morphological, you can say. The grammar structure, we'll see how we are using this. And changing the word order, and retain keyword or technical word. Retain, this word is very important. So unless otherwise, you retain the keyword or the technical term, like what we have in the health track. We are using technical terms, and we're using medical terminology in specific. So you should retain these keywords. In some type of writing, these technical terms we can find, if possible, we can find synonyms for them. But if we take this medical terminology, it's difficult to change the medical term. So it's very important to retain the keyword or the medical term when writing. And I can give a point here about our students writing their uh, quiz 1 or quiz 2, and they are using the passages source of their writing. So they is so difficult for them. Some of them they said they cannot change the term, and I agree with that, and I won't give them any kind of deduction for the marks, because they are using same words in the as in the source. So this is a very crucial point. um, but again, a successful paraphrase should include all these, especially if you are writing a paper, or you are writing an extended essay or an assignment. Then a successful paraphrase should include all these, plus, which is not mentioned here, plus, all these plus. Okay, good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes, exactly. Plus what? Huh? The meaning is clear. I have different word forms, grammatical structure, word order, plus the most important. Excellent, Batul. Thank you, Rinad. That's it. That's it. So I should include the reference. For our students, I always give this example. We do not ask them to include reference, but we know the source they are taking the information from because we provide the link. For example, in quiz 1, we provide, excellent, we provide the link, and this is the source. We know they are, sometimes I ask them to consult other sources. So even though we do not ask them to include this citation or this reference, so they should follow these techniques to have successful paraphrasing. Thank you. So let's look at these examples. Look at the change here. What happened? The first one here, and the second one here. So this is one way, and um, different students, they use different ways to paraphrase, right? They use different ways to paraphrase. But a successful paraphrase, as I said, because this is a simple sentence. Yes, thank you so much, Aisha. Thank you. This is a simple sentence. Then it's clear that they are using, changing the word order, changing passive to, changing the active to passive, because this is like just a simple sentence. But a successful paraphrase, as I mentioned, should include, sorry, different techniques, right? So let's look at a second one. Yes, yes, thank you so much. Yes, yes, yes. So this is another example here. So here, see, look at this one here. So you can use different ways to paraphrase, or different techniques actually. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. Where go the synonyms? Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you, Prophet Kram. Thank you so much. Yes, exactly. This is what we can see here. This example, actually, the third one is just applying different techniques. Look at the source and look at the paraphrase, and they using this. And this actually is part of a course, Future Learn, about paraphrasing, and the source text is longer than this, but just to give you an idea about, um, a paraphrase could be changed using different techniques, not only one at the previous sentences or two at the previous sentences. So could be more than one way to do your paraphrase. So this is a good example, and it is from Future course about paraphrasing. Okay, let's do this. Now is your yes, this is for you to do. This is just you can do it in a different way, of course. Different students, different learners can do the paraphrase differently. So let's try to do this simple sentences. Let's take 2 minutes, huh? 2 minutes. Try to do it without consulting any online tool, huh? Do it yourself. Just do it yourself. Let's try, because they are two simple sentences. Yes. So what do you think? Mm-hmm. Okay. Good. Good, Aisha. Thank you so much. Good. Thank you, Aisha. It's a good trial. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. You can do it differently. Look at the second one. The survey provides summary of the relevant literature. Hmm? Yeah, let me share this one possible way, of course. Okay, Abir, thank you. Oh, thank you so much, Abir. Okay, the study of good, good, good. Okay, let me share this with you. The one possible way, of course. But I know you can, yeah, you did a lot. You did a lot. But this is one simple way of changing. Okay, good. Thank you so much, Aisha. Okay, Summer. Okay. You see? You see, if you try this way, yes, yes, if you try this way, and then later in your writing you include the reference, then you can just you can just give yourself 100 out of 100. So you are doing a perfect job. You see? So different ways of doing paraphrasing. Um, different students can apply different techniques, but a good paraphrase should include multiple techniques and should include reference for you as graduate or postgraduate students. For our dear students at the ELI, yes, thank you so much. Our dear students at the prep students, we are doing a lot of uh, writing, and we are doing a lot of academic reading, especially for health track. And I will share some experience with you. Just let me look at, last but not least, the paraphrasing online tools. So, anyone familiar with Quillbot and Reference Riot? Okay, yes. Yeah, both of them or one? Both of them, Ahmed? Both of them or one? Okay, yeah, here, thank you. Both. Okay, right. Which one you think? Yes. Which one you think um is better? Let's say, and is cheaper, because we are doing, yes, Quillbot. Yeah, I like Quillbot. I sometimes use, with some restrictions. You use online tools, but you have to be aware. Yes, none of them. You're not using. Okay, so when using the online tools, uh, you yes, you have to. Okay, okay. Let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question. Tell me about the experience. It's not scientific. Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much. So this is one way saying of using this giving a point about these online tools. They are I mean, a lot of students they rely on Quillbot. A lot of students they are using this, but it has, yes, both of them are quite satisfied with the result. Yes, this is the point. Yeah, yeah. Why do you think you're not quite satisfied with the result? Why? Can anyone tell? If you are tired of writing, you can just talk. Hold your mic on and speak. In Yes, right. Using your own words. Okay. I can't say it's not helpful. I can't. But you have to manage it. You have to manage it. And if you do not manage it, one way of, yes, exactly, exactly. Yes, you are true. Very true. So one way of doing this, if you are taking control over your writing, and if you know what you're doing, then it will be very easy for you to, yes, right, yes, right. I agree. So for our students, I never ever mention the online tools for beginner writers. Never ever. I mentioned this in plagiarizing presentation, a workshop, but for my students in my context, in my class, never ever mentioned the paraphrasing online tools. I just try to train them to use their own way of paraphrasing, the techniques they are learning in the class. And that's why I said I want to share my experience with you. So as a teacher, I use it sometimes because I can take control over what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I know the vocabulary I'm using, the structure I want to combine in my writing, the way I looked at the sentence structure. Yes, yes, yes. I cannot say they are not useful. I cannot say they are not good. But if you can take control over your writing, you can adopt, you can just combine the the point, retaining the meaning, which is very, very important in paraphrasing, then you can use it. Otherwise, if you are not experienced, well experienced, skillful in paraphrasing, you are beginner writer, do not rely on online tools. I know my students are always, always, always doing this. And I do not mention this. Yes. Okay, let me. Okay, good. I'll take this point later. I think there is a question here, but just let me come to the, before ending the presentation, let me just mention my point about sharing the experience. It's just a simple way of as I mentioned, I intentionally do not mention Quillbot or Ref and Write or whatever kind of online tools, because I train my students to develop their own way of paraphrasing, their own way of writing. They develop their own voice, as some of you mentioned here, because this is the first step of their writing. So they have to know what they are doing. And because I usually give my students collaborative writing, so i I ask them to use the group writing as basis for their individual writing. In this way, I ask them to paraphrase. I ask them to cite, as I mentioned previously, in when they are writing when they are writing about their research project, the speaking project. Sorry, the speaking project. They are applying different techniques. They are applying summarizing, they are applying citation, and they are applying paraphrasing, of course, with the summary. So I just follow their writing, and I ask them to, if there is a definition, I ask them to quote. In a way, they are doing some kind of citation. Okay, yes, yes. There are a lot of online tools we can use if you are experienced and skillful. Paraphrasing, yes. If you are, yes, right. If you are skillful in paraphrasing and in summarizing, it's okay. You can go and use them, because you, again, you can take control over what you are doing. But for my students, I'm talking about my own experience. I do not mention these tools. I know the students are using them, but I try to ignore that this is the tool that they should use. No, I just try to help, because I always mention this. um, I'm training my students, I'm helping them develop effective learning habits generally, and then effective paraphrasing techniques in particular. So that's why I do not mention for, but for uh, graduate students and postgraduate students, I sometimes ask them to consult. But with this consultation, I ask them to take control over the writing, and to look at their paraphrasing when they are combining their source, because this is very, very important. Okay. So anyone can share their experience, and you are always sharing. Thank you so much for giving all these points. Thank you so much for adding these comments. I learned a lot from your comments. Thank you so much for your time. And if you have any question, you are highly welcome. Or if you can share your experience and you reflect on your own experience with these tools, with the paraphrasing, whatever you are writing, that will be so nice of you. And thank you so much once more. Thank you. Yes, Dr. Basim, thank you, Basma, thank you, Dr. Kamal, thank you, Prof. Ikram, thank you for your time.
All right, Dr. Zainab,
Yes,
we would like to thank you so much for this wonderful, as always, yes, very valuable. We really learned a lot. You provided us with suggestions, techniques, recommendations. So thank you so much for this wonderful workshop. So now I'm sharing with you three links. The first one is the evaluation form. The second one is the our online system. So whenever you need help with your writing, just book an appointment and we'll be happy to assist you. And the third one is our YouTube channel. So inshallah, we will upload this within 24 to 48 hours, inshallah. So let's now open the floor for questions, or as Dr. Zainab experience said about experience and reflection. So the mic is on now for, or you wanna post your question here in the chat. So Nada, yes, please. If you would like to receive the certificate, please complete the evaluation form. We still have about 6 minutes for questions, or if you would like to share your experience when it comes to plagiarism or how to avoid plagiarism.
I think there is a question, Dr. Basim, about
Paraphrase.
plagiarism detector. I think there is a question. I can't. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you so much. So
Yeah,
nice
we
of you
have
all.
a question here
Yeah.
from Al Batul. What about paraphrasing from a text in different language?
I think this is incorporating source and information from, let's say, Arabic source into an English. So you have to do a lot here, Batul. First of all, if it is possible, and in your college or in your department, if you are allowed to use a different source, a different language, then first of all you have to make some kind of translation. And translation, when you're making translation and incorporating the source of translation, then you have to look at how, to what extent you retain the meaning or the main idea of these texts, because translation in itself is a skill, and we have a lot to say about translation if we mention it here. I don't know whether it's possible or not in your department, if they allow you to use a source from a different language. But if it happens, then you need first to translate. In a way, in translation, as I mentioned, interpretation and translation, you are doing some kind of you should do some kind of paraphrasing and summarizing. But you have to make sure that, is it allowed? Dr. Basim, you can add the point here. Is it allowed to use um, I mean a different source of a different language?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they can apply the same techniques that you mentioned, just translate it,
Yes,
then use a proper way of citation, and that's it. So
yes,
the techniques
yes.
you mentioned, I think, are widely used, no matter what language is, or yeah,
Okay, so if it is possible, you can consult an Arabic, for example, text, and use it in the English. I mean, in your writing, because you're writing in English, then you need to translate. You need to include the source or the reference, as Dr. Basim mentioned. Why not? Yes, if
yeah.
it is possible.
Yeah, thank you. We have another question here from Brother Arshad. Can you suggest an authentic plagiarism checker we can suggest our students? Because
This is
Blackboard,
yeah.
yeah, provide
I think
plagiarism.
safe assign, right? We have safe assign. This is
Yeah,
what we're using here,
yeah, self-assign,
right?
yeah, we can use, but I don't know if they have
Turnitin.
access.
I don't know. For the students, no, I don't think. Because I think some online tools, you have to pay for some online tools. You can recommend Turnitin also, but I think they have to pay. They have to
Yeah,
pay. It's accessible for teachers, of course, Safe Assign, and it's on Blackboard. We have it. The other tools, I guess they are expensive. I think so.
or there is another way actually. Students
Mm,
can ask their teachers to do this for them.
yes, right,
Maybe they
right,
can mock it somehow
right,
on Blackboard. So there are other
right.
ways actually.
Yeah, right, right. I agree. I agree.
Asma
Yes,
here is
Sarah.
asking. Yeah.
Grammarly. Right.
Ahmad Abubakar, I think here has a question. Can I quote without any paraphrasing?
Yes, quotation is just you are just taking the same phrase or the exact words and use the quotation mark, and then you use you refer to this person who has written this quote. So no need to paraphrase, but you can explain when you incorporate this in your writing, in your own writing, and you this is what I said about combining the source. When you include this in your writing, then you have to give some explanation to relate this to your evidence or to your argument. So after mentioning the quote, so it's very important to know why are you using the quote here in this specific context. It's not haphazardly that because I like this quote, I want to use it. No, you have to know why are you using this quote. There should be a purpose. Then, after using the quote as it is, then you can write explanation, you can write, you can give a point, you can add your argument, you can agree or disagree with this, and you can mention the evidence for that. I hope I'm just giving the
All
answer.
right, so I think now it's almost the time's up. So thank you so much, Dr. Zainab, and thank you all for attending this wonderful workshop. Uh, yes, Yahya, inshallah, we'll have a new series, inshallah, for next semester. We still have two more workshops, tips to avoid mistakes in academic writing. This is next week, inshallah. 2 weeks from now, we'll have personal statement for scholarships and applications. So this is dedicated for PhD students and generally graduate students. So again, thank you all and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Basim. Thank you all. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah.